I'm Rob Thomas with Club and Resort Business, and welcome to another episode of the Club and Resort Talks podcast. Today's podcast is sponsored by Four Supply. For almost 80 years, Four Supply has been the leader in the clubhouse and the club supply industry. Founded in 1945, Four Supply began by operating out of a two-car garage on Chicago's Northwest Side. Almost 8 decades later, much has changed in the industry, but Four Supply remains a leader and an innovator, still focused on being a one-stop shop for all of their customers. Learn more at foursupply.com. Before we get into the news, I'd like to make a quick public service announcement for all those that are affected by the recent hurricanes. Helene and Milton have done a number on our friends along the East Coast, so into the obviously North Carolina mountains. But we all want to help when these natural disasters happen, whether it's a hurricane, tornadoes, wildfires out west, tragedy strikes. But we don't always know how to help. Look for areas like the American Red Cross, right? If you want to donate, AmeriCares, Salvation Army. Let's not forget about the pets, the ASPCA. They can always use help funding. So if you want to give, if you have it within your means, please consider donating to one of those worthy charities or others. With that in mind, we have our guest today is going to be Aaron James, General Manager of the Asheville Country Club. As you know, Asheville, North Carolina was struck very, very hard, unexpectedly so, by Hurricane Helene when it came through. They knew a tropical storm was coming through, but did not expect the devastation that followed. So Aaron talks a little bit about that fateful day, how they are recovering, and what it takes to go to the next step and prepare. This doesn't happen. Well, you can't, Mother Nature's a fickle beast. So obviously, she's going to do what she's going to do. How do we recover? Right? We're going to take the punches. We got to recover and stand tall. So stick around for Aaron James. Before I get to the news, again, I'd also like to tell you about the membership marketing webinar series. We're halfway through right now. Thank you, Melissa Hanson from the Club at Old Cypress and Casey Dormanen from Interlochen Country Club for presenting the first two sessions, and they were fantastic, spectacular. You can go on to clubandresortbusiness.com under the webinars widget and pull it down. You can watch those two on demand or sign up for the next two, which will be Tuesday, I believe it is October 15th, and then again on the 22nd. So those will be the next two in our webinar series. Please log into those and get in on some of the fun. Ton of information. Okay, so finally, let's get to the news. Kicking off the news, we've got an Arizona resort transitioning to treated wastewater. The Omni Tucson, Arizona National Resort utilizes 225 acre-feet of wastewater annually, fulfilling its obligations to Pima County. In today's regulatory environment, new courses are typically expected to incorporate reclaimed water from the onset. However, Omni, which opened in 1962, predates those requirements, as do many courses in the region. So they're doing their part, and curious to see how other courses are going to come online. Next up, the club at Lost Lake, a semi-private club in Hobe Sound, Florida, partnered with our friends at Capstone Hospitality to make the move from public to private. The transition will aim to elevate the overall member experience through personalized service, exclusive events, and improved amenities. Capstone Hospitality, we had Brian Friedrichs on this very webinar or podcast not too long ago. You can go search our podcast and rewatch Brian talk about what Capstone Hospitality does within the industry. All right. Third on our list of news, Kings North at Myrtle Beach National reopened October 3rd following a comprehensive project on its front nine. Architect Brandon Johnson reimagined the opening nine at Kings North, expanding the greens to their original size and specifications, and in some cases beyond. Phase two, which focuses on the back nine, will take place in the summer of 2025. Last but certainly not least, are you looking to get into the glamping business? The Sequoia High Sierra Camp, Sequoia High Sierra Camp. I probably should have done a pause there. A 40-acre property set within the heart of Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks includes a central dining lodge, a bathhouse, and 35 platform sites furnished tent cabins. Approvals are in place to add up to 50 cabin sites. If you want, I think $5.35 million. That's a lot of money, but it's within a national park, and all those campsites were approved before regulations got even tighter. So it's an investment. It's a deal. I think it's been closed since the pandemic, and a couple of heavy snowstorms have affected the property, some of the tents. So there is some work that needs to be done. But take a look at that on clubandresortbusiness.com. News is out of the way. Let's not delay any longer. Let's get to Aaron James, General Manager of Country Club at Asheville, the Country Club of Asheville. Take care, stay well, and have a great day. Hello, and welcome back to the Club and Resort Talks podcast. I'm joined by Aaron James, General Manager of the Country Club of Asheville. As everybody knows, Asheville was maybe struck the worst of any of the areas with Hurricane Helene. And Aaron, please give us an update on how you and your family are doing, first off.
Well, thanks, Rob. Thanks for having us on. The family is safe. Once the water went out, we were able to get them across the state to safety. Kind of funny when you have to take your family from the mountains to the coast to escape a hurricane. But we're doing well. The club is coming along. The staff is all accounted for and safe, and that was the most important part of my return. Is we had to make sure my team was safe and their families were well taken care of.
I think that's the biggest shock for anybody who's, I mean, I'm in Ohio. People in Florida obviously are used to hurricanes. People up the East Coast are used to hurricanes. Not a lot of people in the mountains are worried about the effects. How shocking was it when it came through? Were you guys prepared?
We were. We heard it was a tropical storm, and most people from in this area are from Florida or the East Coast, and they've gone through this kind of stuff. But the sheer force of this storm was not something that we were prepared for. We had two hurricanes. We had the hurricane plus we had multiple tornadoes, and we just have 100 years that hadn't been cleared cut in a while, and our surrounding neighborhoods definitely took a brunt of it.
So looking now, right now you're frozen, so I'm hoping I'm going to get this question out. I imagine the Wi-Fi is still a little wonky down in Asheville. Uh, what has the effect of the golf course been, and the whole club as a whole? You said you lost some trees. The rest of the facilities okay?
For the most part, we sustained as minimal damage as you could possibly imagine for what we did. I mean, we had trees go down. I mean, we got very, very lucky for the storm that came through. We had 160 something trees go down. Some ceiling tiles went out. A lot of flooding across our creeks, and some culverts collapsed. But at the end of the day, we got very lucky. It could have been a lot worse. And with a 100-year-old golf course, it's better than what could be expected, to say the least. There was definitely a worry in my mind when the storm started and really started hitting hard.
Yeah, no kidding. So how are you and your team prioritizing repairs, not only to minimize the effects of on your members, but to get everybody back to normal?
Right now, we're trying to give people that sense of normalcy, seeing people out, trying to make sure the golf course is getting cleaned up, giving those visuals that we are going to be okay. Cutting trees is a big part of what we're doing, trying to get silt off the fairways, and And looking at the creeks, I mean, we got boulders the size of volleyballs now sitting in our creek beds that weren't there a week ago, 2 weeks ago. The river in town, the local river in town, crested almost 16 feet. And where our creek beds normally they run about 2-3 feet, we're all the way across five holes. This was a 500-year flood event, and not something that this area has seen and was prepared for.
Man, that is crazy, crazy, crazy. I've seen videos, I've seen pictures of the destruction, and it just breaks your heart to see what everybody's going through. Uh, have you been working with local authorities? Have they, been in touch with everybody around the area?
Yes, we have been working with local authorities. The Duke Energy has been around, been working through the neighborhood, trying to get power up and running. Communications have been slowly coming back online. Uh, it's been great to see so many private support systems coming out. People with private fleets of helicopters have been coming in to do search and rescue, supply drops. The National Guard has been dropping down on multiple golf courses. Our community has come to use the pool for non-potable water. It's just awesome to be able to provide those opportunities to the neighborhood and to the surrounding community.
So, what are some of the FEMA obviously was in there right away to immediate impacts, and there are plenty of charities. What are some of the charities that you've seen come through and help out the community? Are there big names out there? Because you got to watch out for scammers too.
Right. I mean, American Heart and the American Red Cross has been out and about. Salvation Army, I've seen their trucks. Um, Honestly, we've been living in a little bubble lately. It's really has felt like if you go an hour down the road, it's business as usual. So it's been kind of interesting to see how things have evolved. But Walmart has been mobilizing multiple trucks a day. It's been great to see the charities and people come across to just help out. A lot of it's been private efforts as well, and the community around here, the private effort community, has just been astounding. It makes me proud to be an Asheville community citizen.
I see various hashtags, Mountain Strong, Asheville Strong, all these different coming together, and it's great to see the community really at a time like this really kind of show how strong everything is,
Right.
right?
We got a very close knit community. I mean, so we went up for a hike. We were looking for multiple people around the community, and you hear stories about just individuals gathering together, taking their chainsaws and going in and cutting in walking paths, cutting down trees that have fallen across the road, making sure that people are safe, shut-ins. Like I was saying earlier about the helicopters doing supply drops to just make sure that people are safe. The out Asheville recovered, got back on its feet faster than I was expecting. Not that it's fully back on its feet now, but it's up and awake and it's figuring out what the next steps are. But the surrounding communities, the smaller ones, the Cantons, the Clydes, the Swannanoa, the Black Mountains of the world, they really got beat up. And people are really banding together in those communities, coming together, making sure that their neighbors are safe. And it's been, like I said, I couldn't be prouder to be part of such a great community.
One of the benefits, or I guess the sideness of being a member of a country club is you're generally affluent. You're generally able to take care of yourself and recover something like this. Have you talked to members who have been just wiped out their houses or whatever that have just, I mean, devastated?
I mean, luckily most of our members got out of town, but this storm, like any other storm, didn't spare anybody. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter your age, your race, your religion. The storm's a storm, and it's going to come after you, and it's going to knock some things down. I've seen pictures of members' houses where the trees are through their homes. We have people's members who live on the golf course, and you're just seeing big old oak trees, 60-foot oak trees sitting in their front yard. Cars got smashed. You just it's a great equalizer, and that's where everybody has really come together to make sure that it doesn't matter if you got $1 million, $10 million, or $100. It You're standing next to me, I'm gonna stand next to you.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. How are you communicating with members throughout the process of recovery?
uh it's been the initial communication was tough. Our major central communication hub outside of town was damaged. So we had no cell phone reception for a few days post storm. And then the Wi-Fi and internet cables and powers all went out as well. So we have been slowly struggling to find service and reception. But as we do find it, it's been mainly over mass communication via email. Um, my team has been out, myself, my communications director, my executive chef, my superintendent, and my director of golf. We've all been out front of the club. People come by, we talk to them, and make sure that they know that we care, and we care for our staff. We make sure our staff is well taken care of, and we let the membership know that too. I mean, we're constantly doing things. We let them know we have supplies, water, and the word of mouth definitely spreads. And the email communication factor has been just absolutely happening once we were able to get that back up and running.
I'm sure on a day-to-day basis, Country Club of Asheville runs like a well-oiled machine, right? You guys have it down. Staff is very well trained and attentive to members. Did this did this storm show any vulnerabilities that maybe you didn't know you had and that you have to address?
There's always a good learning opportunity from the storm. Our membership has been great. Our staff has been great. Um, the big thing is we want to make sure the staff was safe. So we got them out of town. So understanding about what people's needs are from a humanity point of view, not just a club point of view, has been a great eye opener. Where do people need to go? How do we get people to safety? What are their essentials? And that's been a great learning opportunity for the management team. Is okay, so we have to be in better contact with our staff as people, not just as staff.
Right, that's fantastic. That leads me into my next question, talking about staff, employee morale, keeping it up. I mean, I'm sure your employees, now some of your employees aren't as affluent, obviously, as some of the members, right? Have they been negatively affected beyond what you can,
Our,
fully expect?
yeah, our staff. I mean, when the storm hit and they were able to get out of town, they scattered. Most of them scattered throughout the southeast. But those who are here, like a golf course grounds and maintenance, our chefs were jumping in to cook food for the staff that was on site. We've had a massive McConnell Golf put together a great supply drive. We've had 3 or 4 different supply drops from McConnell Golf with trucks and trailers full of supplies for the staff. We do a hot lunch every day, because a lot of people just don't have the ability to have a hot lunch. Um, we were doing whatever we could to make sure that people had gasoline in their cars in case of an emergency, and all those things, and making sure their generators had gas. We've been doing some pretty cool things, and there's been no other prouder moment than I have been able to watch this team come together to do those things. But it takes work, and the management team being here on site every day, making sure that their teams know that they have a hot lunch. I mean, even when I didn't have communications, I was able to possibly get a text out to the corporate office in Raleigh and say, hey, can you send a text to the team that says lunch available? And people come running, and it helps with morale, and it's great to see the team goofing around and talking together at the lunch tables.
All right, so you guys have been knocked down. You're back on your feet and you're ready, right? You got the gloves are up, ready for the next punch. Hopefully it doesn't come anytime soon. Has this led to any kind of now you've got the 500-year storm behind you,
Yeah.
right? You guys survived it. You're standing. What do you do from here? New plans?
We got to look at fortifying our infrastructure. There's been a lot of the water infrastructure around town. We got to make sure that this stuff doesn't happen from a city point of view. Uh, the city has been doing a great job about taking a catastrophe that nobody could have planned for, and come. Then I know they're creating new operating procedures. McConnell Golf and myself are creating new operating procedures as we go forward. Got great leadership and direction from Raleigh, from our offices in Raleigh, to help us kind of decide and redefine what the direction we're heading. Um, our emergency plans, of course, are going to change, making sure that our communication trees are up to date, and just overall trying to make sure that we have the tools on site and on hand that we need to make sure we can recover as quickly as possible.
So I was just on your website. You guys are currently closed.
Correct.
Any plans for reopening it? Do we have a date in mind, or is it just something that's still so far out there we're working?
The big things are we need power and water, running water right now. The infrastructure for water is has been, like I said, catastrophically damaged and not something that the city could have taken care of and figured out and expected. And that's as it comes back on, we're going to get things reopened. But there's really no timeline at this point in time because we just don't have the running water and the utilities to operate effectively.
Well, I know the country is watching. The country is has got your back, and obviously your community. Best of luck, Aaron, and thank you very much for taking time out of your crazy, crazy busy day to give us an update. And fingers crossed, everything gets back to normal as soon as possible.
Thank you. Yeah, Western North Carolina is coming back online. We'll be just as strong, if not stronger. We look forward to seeing the rest of the world in a few weeks.